Before we dive in, it is crucial to understand that the information provided in this video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not legal advice. I am not an attorney, and this presentation does not create an attorney-client relationship. The law varies by state and your individual circumstances are unique. For advice specific to your situation, you should consult with a qualified legal professional in your jurisdiction. Picture this. It's 2 in the morning on a Saturday. You've just dropped off your last passenger after a grueling 10-hour shift. You're exhausted, but you hit your goal for the night. You pull over to check your earnings, and that's when you see it. An email. The subject line hits you like a punch to the gut. An update regarding your account. You open it, your heart pounding, and there it is. The cold, corporate text. Your driver account has been permanently deactivated. No specific reason. No one to call. No warning. Just gone. In an instant, the income you rely on to pay your rent, to feed your family, has vanished into thin air, decided by a faceless algorithm. If that scenario makes your blood run cold, you're not alone. This isn't some far-fetched nightmare. It's a daily reality for thousands of Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, and Instacart drivers across the United States. And it's just the tip of the iceberg. The gig economy, which promised freedom and flexibility, has created a legal minefield for the very people who power it. You're out there on the front lines navigating traffic, dealing with difficult customers, and hustling to make a living, all while operating in a system that is, by design, stacked against you. You're treated as an independent contractor, which means you have all the responsibilities of a small business owner, but with almost none of the power or protections. That's why this is so important. Over the next 10 parts, we are going to pull back the curtain on the biggest legal challenges facing gig economy drivers in the US. This isn't about fear-mongering. This is about empowerment. We're going to give you a playbook, a survival guide, to navigate this complex world. We will break down exactly what to do when you get into a car accident and the insurance companies start pointing fingers. We'll untangle the nightmare of taxes and show you how to avoid a catastrophic audit from the IRS. We will expose the hidden clauses in your terms of service agreement that you unknowingly agree to every time you go online. And most importantly, we're going to arm you with the knowledge and strategies you need to protect your income, your vehicle, and your future. You are not just a cog in a machine, you are a business, and it's time you started protecting it like one. So let's start with the single biggest fear for every driver. That sudden, unfair deactivation. Why is this so devastating? Because in the world of traditional employment, there are laws. There's due process. An employer can't just fire you on the spot without cause, based on a single anonymous complaint. But in the gig economy, you can be found guilty until proven innocent, and often, you're never even given a chance to prove your innocence. The entire system is managed by algorithms that flag accounts based on metrics that don't always tell the whole story. Let's break down the most common triggers for deactivation, because understanding the threat is the first step to defending against it. First and most obvious is your star rating. We all obsess over it. That 4.85 threshold is the sword of Damocles hanging over every driver's head. But here's the insidious part. A low rating often has nothing to do with your performance. A passenger might give you 1 star because they were having a bad day. Maybe they didn't like the music you were playing, or they thought you took a longer route, even though you were just following the app's GPS to avoid a traffic jam. They face 0 consequences for that 1-star review, but for you, a handful of those could be the end of your job. The app constantly badgers them to rate your driver, but it never educates them on the fact that anything less than 5 stars is considered a failure and directly threatens your livelihood. Second, and far more dangerous, are false customer complaints. This is the weapon of choice for scammers looking for a free ride or a refund. They know the magic words to use. They'll falsely claim you were driving erratically, that they smelled alcohol on you, or that you made them feel unsafe. These are what we call zero-tolerance complaints. The moment that accusation hits the system, the algorithm often deactivates you first and asks questions later. If ever, you're now in a he said, she said situation against a customer the platform is financially incentivized to believe. You have no idea who the accuser is, what ride it was on, or what evidence they provided. You're fighting a shadow, and you're almost guaranteed to lose. Third is the silent killer: background check errors. The companies you work for use third-party services to run periodic background checks. These services are notoriously flawed. They can mix you up with someone who has a similar name. They can pull outdated or expunged records. They can misreport information that completely disqualifies you from the platform. You won't get a warning. You'll just wake up one day to that deactivation email. And the reason will be a safety concern, related to a background check you didn't even know was happening. And trying to correct a flawed report with a massive bureaucratic background check company can be a months-long soul-crushing ordeal. Then there are the sneakier ones. Your cancellation rate. You might think, I have the right to decline a ride I don't want. And you do. But if the app sends you a request and you let the timer run out instead of hitting the X to decline, the system can log that differently. Do it too often, and the algorithm flags you as unreliable, putting you on the path to deactivation. It's a subtle distinction, but it's one that can cost you everything. Finally, there are the terms of service violations. That massive, unreadable legal document you scrolled through and clicked agree on contains 1,000 tripwires. Things like having another person in the car with you, even a family member for a moment. Using the platform to transport a package without a person. Getting into a verbal altercation, even if the passenger was the aggressor. You agreed to all of it, and the platform can and will use any of these clauses to justify your termination without any recourse. So you're probably thinking this sounds hopeless. That you're a pawn in a game where the rules are designed for you to lose. And you're not entirely wrong. The system is imbalanced. But you are not powerless. You can take concrete steps right now to build a shield around your gig work business. First, get a dash camera. Today, this is non-negotiable. A high-quality two-way dash cam that records inside and outside the vehicle is the single most important investment you will ever make as a driver. It is your silent, unbiased witness. When a passenger falsely accuses you of being unsafe, your video footage is the irrefutable evidence that can save your job. It ends the he said, she said debate instantly. Make sure you comply with your local laws regarding recording passengers, which often simply requires a small sticker on the window informing them that they are being recorded. This alone will deter a huge percentage of potential fraudsters. Second, document everything. Keep a log of any strange or negative interactions. If a passenger is rude or makes you uncomfortable, make a note of the time, date, and a summary of the incident. If you have to end a ride early because of a passenger's behavior, report it to the platform immediately, before they have a chance to report you. Create your own paper trail. When you're appealing a deactivation, a detailed, professional account of events is far more powerful than a frantic, emotional email. Third, if you are deactivated, your first appeal is your best shot. Do not rush it. Do not send an angry, all-caps message. Take a breath. Write a calm, professional, and fact-based appeal. State the facts clearly. If you have dashcam footage, state that you have it and are ready to provide it. Reference your high rating and positive comments from other passengers. Treat it like you are a business owner communicating with a business partner, not like an angry employee yelling at their boss. Your professionalism in that moment can make all the difference. Deactivation is a brutal reality of this job, but it doesn't have to be a death sentence. By understanding the triggers and building your defenses with tools like a dashcam and meticulous documentation, you can shift the balance of power, even if it's just a little bit back in your favor. But what happens when the problem isn't a false complaint, but a very real metal-on-metal car accident? The legal and financial nightmare that follows is something most drivers are completely unprepared for. The gap between your personal auto insurance and the policy provided by the rideshare company is a canyon. And if you fall into it, it could lead to financial ruin. And that is exactly the critical challenge we are breaking down next. This canyon has a name, and it's called Period 1. To understand the danger, you need to know how rideshare companies see your time. They break your workday into 4 distinct periods. Period 0 is when your app is off. You're just driving your car for personal reasons. Your personal auto insurance covers you, plain and simple. No problem there. Periods 2 and 3 are when you've accepted a ride request. Period 2 is when you're on your way to pick up the passenger, and Period 3 is when the passenger is in your car. During these 2 periods, the rideshare company's massive commercial insurance policy is in full effect. We're talking $1 million in liability coverage, uninsured/underinsured motorist coverage, and contingent collision and comprehensive coverage for your own vehicle. Usually after you pay a hefty deductible of $1,000 or even $2,500. It's not perfect, but it's real coverage. Most drivers think this is the insurance they have the whole time they're working. They are dangerously wrong. The real financial nightmare lies in the gap between your personal time and your fully covered time. It's Period 1. This is the moment you turn on the app. You are now officially working. You are online, available, and waiting for a ride request to come in. You might be parked in a lot near the airport, Or maybe you're just cruising downtown waiting for that ping. In your mind, you're on the clock. You are a commercial driver. But in the eyes of the insurance world, you are in limbo. You are in the canyon. Let's make this real. Meet David. David just lost his office job and signed up for Uber to make ends meet. He's a responsible guy. He has a good auto insurance policy with a major national carrier, and he's never missed a payment. On his third day, he's driving downtown during a slow Tuesday afternoon. He has the Uber app on, waiting for a trip. He glances down at his phone for just a second to reposition himself on the map, and in that split second, the car in front of him slams on its brakes. He can't stop in time. It's a classic rear-end collision. Not a terrible one, but there's significant damage to the front of his Honda Accord and the back of the other driver's Lexus. Everyone is okay, thankfully, but the cars are a mess. David does what he's supposed to do. He exchanges information with the other driver. He's nervous, but he thinks, okay, this is what I have insurance for. He calls his personal insurance agent and reports the accident. The agent is friendly, asks for the details. Then he asks the critical question. What were you doing at the time of the accident? David, being an honest guy, says, I was online with Uber waiting for a ride. The agent's friendly tone vanishes. There's a pause. Oh, the agent says. I see. Well, your policy has a commercial use exclusion. Because you were engaged in a commercial activity at the time, we will be denying the claim. In fact, we'll also be sending you a notice of policy cancellation. David's heart sinks. Denied? Cancelled? How is that possible? He was just driving. But he remembers Uber has insurance. So he files a claim with Uber's insurance carrier. He explains what happened. The claims adjuster on the other end pulls up his file and says, okay, I see you were in period 1 at the time of the accident. You had not yet accepted a ride request. David agrees. The adjuster continues, during period 1, our policy provides liability coverage only. It's a contingent policy. We provide $50,000 per person for bodily injury, up to $100,000 per accident, and $25,000 for property damage. David is confused. Okay, so you'll cover the damage to the other person's Lexus? The adjuster says, yes, up to the $25,000 limit. If the repairs cost more than that, you will be personally responsible for the difference. The Lexus is a newer model. The repair bill is easily going to exceed that limit. But then David asks the most important question. What about my car? My front end is smashed in. I need it to work. The repair estimate is over $7,000. The adjuster's answer is the final blow. Sir, during period 1, our policy provides no collision coverage for your vehicle whatsoever. We do not cover damage to your car. You are entirely on your own for those repairs. In the span of 2 phone calls, David has discovered he has no insurance. His personal policy has abandoned him, and Uber's policy won't help him. He is now personally on the hook for his own $7,000 repair bill, plus any damages to the Lexus that exceed Uber's low-limit $25,000 policy. He has no car to earn money with, and a mountain of debt that could bankrupt him. David has fallen into the canyon. This story isn't an exaggeration. It happens to drivers across the United States every single day. The insurance provided by rideshare companies in period 1 is legally the bare minimum they can get away with. It's designed to protect them, not you. It will not fix your car. Period. So how do you fix this? How do you build a bridge over this canyon? The answer, thankfully, is simple and relatively inexpensive. It's called a rideshare endorsement, sometimes called a transportation network company, or TNC endorsement. This is an add-on to your personal auto insurance policy. For a small extra fee, often just $15 to $30 a month, your personal insurer agrees not to drop you for being a gig worker. More importantly, they agree to extend your personal coverage, your collision, your comprehensive, your higher liability limits, to fill that dangerous gap in period 1. With a rideshare endorsement, David's story would have ended very differently. When his personal insurer asked what he was doing, he would have said, I was online with Uber, and I have a rideshare endorsement on my policy. The agent would have said, great, no problem, and started the claim. He would have paid his normal deductible, say $500, and his insurance would have paid the remaining $6,500 to fix his car. The accident would have been an inconvenience, not a financial catastrophe. Major carriers like State Farm, Geico, Progressive, USAA, and Allstate all offer these endorsements in most states. But here's the catch. Not all of them do, and you absolutely cannot assume you're covered. You must proactively call your insurance agent and ask one specific question. Do you offer a TNC or rideshare endorsement? If they say yes, add it immediately. If they say no, you need to find a new insurance company before you ever turn that app on again. Staying with an insurer that doesn't cover rideshare is a ticking time bomb. The first time you get into an accident, you won't just have your claim denied. You'll be dropped as a client entirely, making it harder and more expensive to get insurance in the future. And this problem gets even worse when you look beyond Uber and Lyft. What about food delivery? DoorDash, Instacart, Grubhub? Their insurance situation is often a complete black hole. Many delivery platforms provide liability coverage only while you're on your way to the restaurant or to the customer's house. For your own car, they offer absolutely nothing. Zero. Zilch. If you don't have a proper commercial policy or a personal policy with a specific delivery endorsement, you are driving with a massive uninsured risk. You could total your car delivering a $12 burrito and have no coverage at all. This isn't a minor detail. It's the single most common and devastating legal and financial challenge a new driver faces. Your vehicle is your entire business. Driving it without proper coverage for every second you're working is like a trapeze artist performing without a net. It might be fine for a while, but one slip is all it takes for everything to come crashing down. So you fixed your insurance. You called your agent, you got the right endorsement, and you're fully protected from the financial risks on the road. You feel secure. But what happens when the biggest threat isn't another car, but a single, anonymous customer complaint that gets you permanently kicked off the platform? A message that pops up on your phone one morning saying you're no longer a partner with no explanation, no human to talk to, and no way to appeal. That digital guillotine is called deactivation, and it's the silent career killer that we are exposing next. Imagine waking up, grabbing your coffee, ready to start your day earning a living, only to find the app you depend on is locked. A cold, generic message flashes on the screen. Your account has been permanently deactivated due to a violation of community guidelines. Your heart sinks. You try to log in again. Denied. You search for a phone number to call. There isn't one. You send a frantic message to a faceless support bot, and hours later, you get a canned response, a copy and paste reply that explains nothing. Your income, your livelihood, your connection to the modern economy, severed by an algorithm with no warning, no human conversation, and no court of appeal. This isn't a hypothetical nightmare. This is the reality for thousands of gig economy drivers every single month. This is the world of algorithmic management where your boss is a piece of code. And in this world, due process is a foreign concept. The core of the problem lies in that term we discussed earlier: independent contractor. If you were a traditional employee, firing you would involve a process. There would be warnings, performance reviews, an HR department, and a paper trail. You would have legal protections against wrongful termination. But as an independent contractor, you're not being fired. The platform is simply terminating a contract. Legally, it's no different than a company deciding not to renew its contract with the office cleaning service. It sounds clean and simple on paper, but when that contract is your family's only source of income, it's devastating. So why is it so brutal and sudden? The answer is scale and liability. Companies like Uber and Lyft have millions of drivers. They don't have the manpower to personally manage each one, so they build automated systems. A customer reports you for harsh braking? That's a data point. Your acceptance rate drops below a certain invisible threshold? Another data point. You get a 1-star review from a passenger who was having a bad day? A critical data point. Your entire career is a collection of these data points, fed into an algorithm that looks for patterns. And when that algorithm flags your pattern as a potential risk, it doesn't schedule a meeting with HR. Simply cuts you off. It's a calculated, emotionless decision designed to protect the company from potential lawsuits and bad press at the lowest possible cost. The driver is just collateral damage. Let's break down the most common tripwires that lead to this digital execution. The most famous one, of course, is the rating system, the tyranny of the 5 stars. We all know it. Anything less than a perfect 5-star rating is seen as a failure. A consistent rating below a 4.6 or 4.7, a number that sounds perfectly reasonable in any other context, can put you on the deactivation chopping block. Think about that. A handful of passengers who were upset about traffic you can't control, or who disliked your choice of music, or who were simply in a foul mood, can collectively end your job. You have no meaningful way to dispute these ratings. You're judged by a silent, anonymous jury that never has to explain its verdict. Then there are the safety complaints. This is the one that terrifies drivers the most, because it's often an instant, permanent deactivation with zero tolerance. A passenger can make an accusation about your driving about something you said, or worse, something entirely fabricated, and the platform's knee-jerk reaction is to deactivate you first and ask questions later. Or more accurately, never ask questions at all. The burden of proof is flipped upside down. You are considered guilty until you can prove yourself innocent, which is nearly impossible when you don't know who your accuser is, what exactly they said, or when it supposedly happened. You're fighting a ghost in a system that is designed to believe the customer is always right, because the customer is the source of the revenue. Another common deactivation trigger is a failed background check. And this isn't just about the initial check when you sign up. These companies run continuous background checks. So an issue that didn't appear on your initial screening, or a court error that was later dismissed, can suddenly pop up years into your driving career and get you kicked off the platform overnight. Imagine driving for 5 years with a perfect record, and then being deactivated for a misdemeanor charge from a decade ago that was supposed to be sealed. It happens. And finally, there's the giant vague catch-all: violation of the terms of service. This is the company's ultimate trump card. The terms of service agreement, that massive wall of text you scrolled through and clicked agree on without reading, is filled with hundreds of clauses. Anything from sharing your account with your spouse so they can earn some money, to using the wrong type of vehicle, to engaging in what the algorithm deems fraudulent activity, can be grounds for termination. What's fraudulent activity? Sometimes it's obvious, like intentionally driving longer routes, but other times the algorithm misinterprets things. Drivers have been flagged for fraud simply for driving in unusual patterns while completing legitimate deliveries for multiple apps. Again, there's no human to explain your side of the story to. The algorithm has spoken, and its word is final. So what can you do? This is where the legal labyrinth gets even more twisted. Buried deep within those terms of service is a clause that most drivers are completely unaware of: the mandatory arbitration clause. This clause forces you to give up your right to sue the company in a court of law. You can't join a class action lawsuit with other deactivated drivers. You can't have your day in front of a judge and jury. Instead, you are forced into a private binding arbitration process. Arbitration is often paid for by the company, the proceedings are secret, and the arbitrators are often chosen from a pool of professionals who have a financial incentive to be friendly to the corporations that give them repeat business. It's a system designed to limit company liability and keep these disputes out of the public eye. It's like being told you can fight Goliath, but the fight has to take place in Goliath's house, with Goliath's cousin as the referee. The result is a feeling of complete and utter powerlessness. You've been accused, judged, and sentenced by a machine, with no human oversight and no real path to redemption. Some drivers spend weeks, even months, sending emails into the void, visiting packed green light hubs, only to be told by a support agent that there's nothing they can do, that the decision came from a team they have no contact with. Their 5-star record, thousands of completed trips, and glowing comments from passengers count for nothing. In the cold calculus of the gig economy, they are just a line of code that has been deleted. This constant, looming threat of deactivation creates a culture of fear, forcing drivers to accept undesirable trips and tolerate abusive passengers, all in the hope of appeasing the algorithmic overlord. But deactivation is just the final, fatal blow. For the millions of drivers still on the road, there's a different, more subtle battle being fought every single day. It's not about getting kicked off the platform, but about surviving on it. It's a battle against an algorithm that controls not just your job security, but every single penny you earn. And it does so with a level of secrecy that is truly staggering. The fight for your job is one thing, but what about the fight for fair pay? That's where we're going next, into the black box of algorithmic pay structures and the fight for transparency. So what exactly is inside this black box? Imagine you're a musician, but you're never told how much you'll be paid for a gig until after the show is over. Sometimes it's $100. Sometimes it's $10. The promoter just says, "Trust us." You wouldn't take that deal. Yet, millions of gig workers do every single day. This isn't an accident. It's by design. The pay you see on your screen before you accept a ride or a delivery is not a simple calculation of miles plus time. It is the output of a deeply complex and deliberately opaque algorithm, designed with one primary goal: to find the absolute lowest price a worker is willing to accept for a specific task at a specific moment. Let's call this algorithmic wage setting. And it is, without a doubt, one of the most contentious battlegrounds in the entire gig economy. For years, the model was more straightforward. Uber, for instance, used a multiplier system called surge pricing. When demand was high, fares would multiply by 1.5x, 2x, or even more. Drivers could look at a map, see a red surge zone, and know that driving there would earn them a premium. It was transparent. You knew the formula. But companies realized they were leaving money on the table. Why pay every driver in a surge zone 2x the normal rate if some of them would have been willing to work for 1.5x? So they switched to what's called upfront pricing. Now the customer is given a fixed price, and the driver is offered a fixed payment. The two numbers are completely disconnected. Uber might charge a passenger $50 for a ride to the airport, while offering the driver only $25 for that same trip. The next driver might be offered $28. The one after that, $24. The algorithm is constantly testing, learning, and personalizing its offers. It knows your driving patterns. It knows what time of day you usually work. It knows how likely you are to reject lowball offers. It knows if you're trying to complete a quest or promotion, and are more likely to accept a bad ride just to hit your target. It uses all of this data not to help you, but to calculate the rock-bottom price you personally are likely to say yes to. This creates a system of profound information asymmetry. The company has perfect information. The driver has almost none. Think about food delivery. A driver for DoorDash or Uber Eats gets an offer. It might say, guaranteed pay, $4.50 for 6 miles. The driver has to make a split-second decision. Is it worth it? Maybe there's a big tip hidden in that offer that will only be revealed after the delivery is complete. Or maybe that $4.50 is all they're going to get. The app is intentionally hiding information to gamify the process, to turn a business decision into a slot machine pull. You're not a business owner making an informed choice. You're a gambler, pulling the lever and hoping for a jackpot. This is where the legal challenges come roaring in, because this practice arguably violates the very spirit of being an independent contractor. An independent contractor is supposed to have the freedom to set their own prices or, at the very least, to meaningfully negotiate the terms of their work. But in the gig economy, there is no negotiation. You cannot counteroffer. You cannot ask for more money for a difficult delivery. You are presented with a take-it-or-leave-it offer generated by a machine that knows more about your work habits than you do. Legislators and regulators are starting to wake up to this. In a landmark move, New York City passed a series of laws establishing a minimum pay rate for app-based delivery workers. This wasn't just a simple minimum wage. It was a complex formula designed to account for workers' time and expenses. The apps were now legally required to pay a certain amount per minute and per mile, giving drivers a predictable floor for their earnings. The results were immediate and dramatic. One study found that delivery driver earnings in the city jumped significantly. The apps, of course, fought it tooth and nail, arguing it would destroy their business model and lead to higher prices for consumers. But the law stuck. Following that lead, Washington state passed its own driver de-escalation and resolution law, which, among other things, mandated greater pay transparency. For the first time, companies like Uber and Lyft were required to provide drivers with a detailed breakdown of their earnings for each trip, showing exactly how much the passenger paid and how much the company took as a commission. The black box was being pried open ever so slightly. These laws are an attempt to rebalance the scales, to give drivers some of the basic information they need to actually run their businesses. But the fight is far from over. A much bigger, more existential legal threat is looming on the horizon: antitrust law. Typically, we think of antitrust laws as tools to break up monopolies like Standard Oil or AT&T. They're designed to prevent companies from colluding to fix prices for consumers. But a growing number of legal scholars and driver advocates are asking a provocative question. Aren't Uber and Lyft doing the exact same thing, but to their workers? Think about it. In a normal market for, say, plumbing services, 100 different plumbers can all set their own prices. They compete with each other. You, the customer, can choose the one that offers the best value. But in the rideshare market, thousands of supposedly independent drivers are all forced to accept a price set by a single entity: the app. Uber's algorithm sets the price for every single ride on its platform. Drivers cannot compete with each other on price. They cannot offer a discount for a regular customer. They have zero control over the single most important aspect of their business: the price of their service. This is the core of several major lawsuits currently working their way through the courts. The argument is that by centralizing price setting, these platforms are engaging in a massive price-fixing scheme, artificially suppressing the wages or earnings of their drivers. If drivers were truly independent, they would be able to set their own rates. The app would simply be a marketplace, a digital bulletin board connecting drivers and riders, taking a small transparent fee for making the introduction. But that's not the business model. The model is to control the entire transaction from start to finish and, most importantly, to control the price. If these antitrust lawsuits succeed, it wouldn't just force transparency. It could shatter the entire gig economy business model as we know it. It could force Uber and Lyft to allow drivers to set their own fares, creating a truly competitive marketplace. The companies argue this would lead to chaos, with unpredictable pricing and unreliable service. Drivers argue it would lead to fair compensation and true independence. So you have a multi-front war being waged. On one front, you have city and state-level legislation pushing for minimum pay standards and basic transparency. On another, you have the monumental, slow-moving threat of federal antitrust litigation that could upend the entire system. And caught in the middle is the individual driver, just trying to figure out if that next trip is going to be worth the gas. They're fighting for the right to simply know how they get paid. This financial precarity is a heavy burden, but it's not the only risk they carry alone. What happens when the algorithm sends you into a dangerous neighborhood late at night? Or when a simple fender bender turns into a five-figure nightmare? Who is responsible for your safety and your vehicle? The answer to that question reveals another gaping hole in the legal framework of the gig economy. Let's unpack that gaping hole, because for thousands of drivers, it's not a legal theory. It's a financial abyss they fell into after a single life-altering moment. Imagine this. You're driving for a rideshare company on a Friday night. The app is on, you're logged in, but you haven't accepted a ride request yet. You're just cruising downtown waiting for that familiar ping. Suddenly, another car runs a red light and T-bones you. The crash is bad. Your car, your source of income, is totaled. You're injured, unable to work for weeks, maybe months. You do what anyone would do. You call your personal auto insurance company. You've paid your premiums on time for years. You file the claim. A few days later, you get a call from the claims adjuster. They ask a seemingly innocent question. What were you doing at the time of the accident? You answer honestly. I was online waiting for a ride request for Uber. And with that one sentence, your world collapses. The adjuster informs you that because you were engaged in commercial activity, your personal policy is void. Your claim is denied. Every penny for the totaled car, the medical bills, the rental car. It's all on you. You think, okay, fine. Uber's insurance will cover it, right? So you contact Uber. And they deliver the second blow. They tell you that yes, they have contingent liability coverage for this exact situation. The period when your app is on but you don't have a passenger. But their policy is limited. It might only offer $50,000 for injuries per person, and a maximum of $25,000 for property damage. Your new SUV was worth more than that. The other driver's medical bills could exceed that. And here's the kicker. Uber's property damage coverage in this phase often doesn't cover your car at all. It only covers the other person's. You are left with a mountain of debt, no car, no income, and a personal insurance company that now sees you as a high-risk client. This isn't a scare tactic. This is the reality of the infamous insurance gap. It's a three-headed monster that every gig driver has to face, whether they know it or not. In the eyes of insurance, your time as a gig driver is split into three distinct periods. Period 0 is when your app is off. You're just driving your car for personal reasons. Your regular auto insurance covers you, no problem. Period 1 is the danger zone we just described. The app is on and you're available for hire, but you haven't accepted a trip. This is where your personal policy will likely deny you. And the rideshare company's coverage is minimal and often doesn't cover your own vehicle. Periods 2 and 3 are when you've accepted a ride and are on your way to pick someone up, or when the passenger is in your car. During these periods, the gig companies provide much more substantial coverage, typically up to $1 million in liability. This is the insurance they advertise. This is the safety net they want you to believe is always there. But it's not. The catastrophic flaw in this system is period 1. Drivers can spend hours in this state circling, waiting, completely exposed. Many drivers are never told by their personal insurance agent or by the gig company that they need a special rideshare endorsement on their personal policy to close this gap. These endorsements can be expensive, and in some states they're not even available. The result is a game of Russian roulette every time a driver logs on. Let's talk about Jessica. A single mother from Phoenix who was driving to pay for her son's college tuition. She was in period 1 when a distracted driver sideswiped her, causing over $10,000 in damage to her car. Her personal insurance dropped her like a hot rock. Uber's insurance offered nothing for her vehicle's repairs. She couldn't afford to fix the car, so she couldn't work. The lost income spiraled into debt. She had to pull her son out of his dorm and back home because she could no longer afford the payments. All because of an insurance loophole she never knew existed. But the physical and financial risks go far beyond car accidents. What about your personal safety? When a taxi driver is assaulted, they are an employee. Their company has a legal and financial responsibility. There are procedures, workers' compensation, and a corporate structure to support them. When a gig driver is assaulted, carjacked, or worse, they are an independent contractor. They are a business owner, solely responsible for their own safety. The app on their phone might have a panic button that connects to 911, but after the incident is over, the legal aftermath is a lonely road. There is no workers' compensation for an Uber driver who gets stabbed by a passenger and can't work for 6 months. There is no company-provided disability insurance for a Lyft driver who suffers from PTSD after a violent carjacking. The companies will issue statements saying they are deeply saddened and have deactivated the rider's account. They might cooperate with law enforcement, but when it comes to the driver's lost wages, their medical bills, their trauma, the official corporate stance is that it's not their legal responsibility. This is a direct consequence of the independent contractor classification. An employer has what's called a duty of care to provide a safe working environment. They have to mitigate foreseeable risks. But if Uber and Lyft are merely tech platforms connecting two users, a driver and a rider, then their legal duty of care becomes much, much smaller. They can claim they are not responsible for the unpredictable actions of a third-party user. Think about that. The very business model that makes the gig economy so profitable is the same one that allows these companies to legally distance themselves from the human cost of the dangers their drivers face every single day. They have effectively outsourced the risk. The driver bears the financial risk of a car accident, the physical risk of a violent passenger, and the emotional risk of a traumatic event, all for a fare that is getting smaller and smaller. They are the sole proprietor of a business where they have almost no control, but 100% of the liability. And while these sudden violent events are terrifying, they aren't the only way drivers are being bled dry. Even if you manage to avoid a catastrophic accident or a dangerous passenger, there is a slower, more silent financial crisis happening under the hood of every gig driver's car. A crisis of numbers and depreciation that the companies have mastered, and that most drivers don't fully understand until it's far too late. Let's break down that silent crisis. It's called depreciation, and it is the single most misunderstood and most financially devastating aspect of the gig economy for drivers. Most people think of depreciation as something that happens when you drive a new car off the lot. You lose a few $1,000s and that's that. But for a full-time gig driver, depreciation isn't a one-time event. It's a constant, relentless, and invisible tax on every single mile you drive. Imagine you buy a reliable 3-year-old Toyota Camry for, say, $20,000. It's a smart purchase. It's got about 30,000 miles on it, and you plan to drive it for Uber and Lyft. You're told you can make great money, maybe $1,000 a week if you hustle. And for the first few weeks it feels true. The money hits your account, you pay your bills, and everything seems fine. You're tracking your gas. You're tracking your earnings. You think you're running a business, but you're missing the biggest expense of all. The average American drives about 13,500 miles a year. A full-time rideshare driver can easily hit 50,000 miles a year. Some drive even more. That's nearly 4 times the national average. Your car isn't just aging by the calendar. It's aging by the odometer at a hyper-accelerated rate. Every one of those 50,000 miles is a tiny fraction of your car's life being converted directly into cash. You're not just using your car, you're liquidating it. You are selling your car to Uber piece by piece, mile by mile, for pennies on the dollar. Let's do the math the companies hope you never will. The IRS offers a standard mileage rate for business deductions. For 2023, it was 65.5 cents per mile. A lot of drivers see that number and think, okay, so my costs are about 65 cents a mile. But that's a national average designed for salespeople, contractors, and others who use their car for work, not for people whose entire job is to put extreme commercial-level wear and tear on a personal vehicle. The real cost is often much higher. Let's take that $20,000 Camry. At 50,000 miles a year, you're not just getting oil changes. You're buying multiple sets of new tires, which can be over $1,000. You're replacing brake pads and rotors maybe once a year. You're flushing fluids, replacing belts, and dealing with the inevitable suspension work from hitting potholes while rushing to a pickup. That's your maintenance, and it adds up fast. Let's be conservative and say that's 10 cents a mile. Then there's gas. That's the easy one to track. Maybe it's 15 cents a mile, depending on your car and gas prices. Insurance. As we'll discuss later, getting the proper commercial rideshare insurance is more expensive. Add another few cents per mile. So far we're at around 28 cents per mile in direct out-of-pocket costs. But the killer is depreciation. That Camry with 30,000 miles was worth 20 grand. After 1 year of full-time driving, it now has 80,000 miles. Its market value has plummeted. It's not just 1 year older. It's 50,000 miles older. It might now be worth only $14,000. That's $6,000 of value that has vanished. $6,000 divided by 50,000 miles is 12 cents per mile. And that's a conservative estimate. For newer or more expensive cars, the drop is even more dramatic. So when you add it all up, 10 cents for maintenance, 15 for gas, 3 for insurance, and 12 for depreciation, you're already at 40 cents per mile. And this doesn't even account for cleaning supplies, cell phone data, or the occasional parking ticket. Suddenly, that trip where you earned $10 for driving 8 miles didn't net you $10 minus gas. It netted you $10 minus 8 miles times 40 cents, which is $3.20. Your actual take-home on that trip was $6.80. Over an entire year, that silent 40 cents per mile on 50,000 miles driven means your true vehicle cost was $20,000. That's the entire purchase price of your car gone in a single year of work. This is the legal and structural genius of the gig economy model. In any other transportation industry, the company owns and maintains the primary capital asset. A trucking company owns the trucks. An airline owns the planes. A taxi company traditionally owned the medallions and a fleet of vehicles. They were responsible for the purchase, maintenance, and replacement of their fleet. It was their single biggest capital expenditure. Uber and Lyft have brilliantly sidestepped this. By classifying drivers as independent contractors, they have successfully offloaded this massive, multi-billion-dollar cost onto the backs of their workforce. They get all the benefits of a global fleet of millions of vehicles, available 24/7, without owning a single one. They bear none of the risk of depreciation, none of the cost of maintenance, and none of the liability for replacement. The driver, meanwhile, is placed in an impossible position. They are using a personal asset, often financed with a personal loan, for intense commercial purposes. The loan payments don't care that the car's value is dropping faster than the balance. The bank expects the same payment every month, even as the asset securing the loan is literally being ground into dust on the pavement. This creates a deferred crisis. For the first year or two, the driver might feel like they're making a decent living. They're paying the bills. But what they're actually doing is taking out an undeclared, high-interest loan against the future value of their car. The weekly paychecks are, in part, just a cash out of their vehicle's equity. Then the crisis hits. The car reaches 150,000 miles. The transmission starts to slip. The engine develops a knock. A repair that costs $3,000 is needed, but the car is now only worth $5,000. Does the driver sink more than half the car's value into a repair, just to keep working? They have no savings because their real profit margin was razor-thin all along. They can't get a loan for a new car because their credit is shot from trying to keep up. This is the trap. The very tool they need to earn money is gone, and the money they earned wasn't enough to replace it. They are left with no car, no job, and often a pile of debt. This isn't a bug in the system. It is the system. The model is predicated on a constant churn of new drivers with newer cars, who haven't yet learned this brutal lesson. It relies on people undervaluing their own assets until it's too late. The legal challenge here is fundamental. Are you truly an independent business owner if the business model of your client is designed to systematically consume and destroy your primary capital asset without just compensation? A true independent contractor sets prices to cover all their costs, including capital depreciation, and to make a profit. Gig workers can't set their prices. They take what the algorithm offers. And the algorithm's price is not designed for the driver's long-term sustainability. It's designed for market dominance and passenger acquisition, using the driver's car as the sacrificial pawn. This slow-motion financial bleed is the foundation upon which other legal and financial challenges are built. Because when you're barely breaking even on a per-mile basis, you have absolutely no cushion for what comes next. You have no room to handle a minor accident, no ability to fight a wrongful deactivation, and no power to question the opaque and often predatory systems that govern your daily work. The erosion of your vehicle's value is mirrored by the erosion of your own economic power, leaving you dangerously exposed when things inevitably go wrong. And one of the first places they go wrong is with insurance. It's a ticking time bomb nestled right in your glove compartment. You think you're protected. You pay your premium every month. But the policy you rely on, your personal auto insurance, is likely a complete illusion the moment you turn on your app. This is the single most common and potentially catastrophic legal trap for gig drivers. It's called the commercial use exclusion, and it's the fine print designed to financially ruin you. Let's be clear. Your standard Geico, Progressive, or State Farm policy is for personal driving. It's for commuting to a 9-to-5 job, driving to the grocery store, or taking a road trip. The second you log into the Uber or Lyft app with the intent to accept a ride, you are engaging in commercial activity. You are a business, and in the eyes of your personal insurer, you have just voided your own coverage. Imagine this scenario. You're parked app on waiting for that first ping of the day. You're scrolling through your phone when suddenly, bam, someone misjudges a turn and smashes into your rear bumper. It's clearly their fault. You exchange information, you call your insurance company, and you tell them exactly what happened. I was just waiting to pick up a passenger for Uber. That's the moment your world collapses. The agent on the other end of the line will pause, and you'll hear them type. Then they'll deliver the news. I'm sorry, but because you were engaged in commercial activity at the time of the accident, your policy does not provide coverage for this incident. We will be denying your claim. Not only will they deny your claim for repairs, they will almost certainly drop you as a customer entirely for misrepresentation, or what they call rate evasion. You didn't just lose coverage for one accident. You've lost your insurance provider and are now flagged as a high-risk driver, making it incredibly difficult and expensive to get a new policy. You were honest, and for your honesty, you were financially executed. You're left with a damaged car, no way to work, and a canceled insurance policy. But wait, you say, doesn't Uber or Lyft provide insurance? Yes, they do. And relying on it is like trusting a leaky raft in the middle of the ocean. It's technically a flotation device, but it's full of holes you don't know about until you're already sinking. The company's insurance is broken down into a confusing system of periods or phases. Understanding these is not just important, it's critical to your survival. Period 0 is simple. Your app is off. You're driving for personal reasons. Your personal auto insurance is in full effect. No problem there. The real danger zone, the place where countless drivers have been financially wiped out, is period 1. This is when your app is on, but you have not yet accepted a ride request. You are available online waiting for a ping. In this period, the company's insurance provides almost nothing. They provide contingent liability coverage, and only at the bare minimum state requirements. What does that mean in plain English? It means if you cause an accident and injure someone else or damage their property, the company's insurance will step in, but only if your personal insurer denies the claim first. Notice what's missing? There is zero coverage for your car. No collision, no comprehensive. Nothing. If you're in that scenario we just talked about, waiting for a ping, and someone hits you, the company's insurance will do absolutely nothing to fix your vehicle. If your car is totaled in period 1, you are out of a car. Period. Your primary source of income is gone, and you're left holding the bill. This is the gap. The chasm. It's the single biggest vulnerability in the entire gig economy ecosystem. Now let's move to period 2. This starts the moment you accept a ride request and are on your way to pick up the passenger. Here, the company's coverage increases significantly. You now typically have $1 million in liability coverage. Period 3 begins when the passenger is in your car and ends when they exit the vehicle. The coverage is the same as period 2. $1 million in liability. In both period 2 and 3, the company's insurance also provides contingent collision and comprehensive coverage for your car. The key word there is contingent. It only applies if you already have collision and comprehensive on your personal policy. If you only carry liability on your personal car to save money, you get zero coverage for your own vehicle from the company, even if the accident happens with a passenger in the back seat. But even if you have the right personal coverage and the company's policy kicks in, You're about to get hit with another brutal surprise. The deductible. A typical deductible on a personal auto policy is $500, maybe $1,000 if you're trying to lower your premium. The standard deductible on Uber and Lyft's collision coverage? $2,500. Let that sink in. You get into an accident with a passenger in the car. It's your fault. The damage is $4,000. You file a claim through the company. They approve it. But before they pay a single cent, you have to write a check for $2,500. How many drivers have that kind of cash just sitting around for an emergency? For many, that deductible is an insurmountable wall. Your car, your source of income, sits broken in a tow yard, racking up storage fees, while you desperately try to scrape together enough money to meet a deductible that's 5 times higher than you expected. It's a form of coverage that, for many, is functionally unusable. So what's the solution to this insurance nightmare? It's called rideshare insurance. This isn't a separate, standalone policy. It's typically an add-on, or an endorsement, to your existing personal auto policy. What it does is bridge that terrifying gap in period 1. With a rideshare endorsement, if you get into an accident while waiting for a ping, your own insurance company won't drop you. They will cover the claim. It transforms your personal policy into a hybrid policy that recognizes what you do for a living. It closes the chasm. It means that when you tell your insurance agent, "I was online waiting for an Uber request," their response isn't to cancel your policy, but to start your claim. It's the difference between a minor inconvenience and total financial ruin. Now, does it cost more? Yes, of course it does. You might be looking at an extra $15 to $30 a month, depending on your provider and your state. And I know every single dollar counts. When you're fighting for every fare, an extra $30 a month feels like a lot. But you have to reframe that cost. You are not spending $30. You are investing $30 to protect a $20,000 asset, your car, and your entire ability to earn an income. It is, without a doubt, the single most important business expense you will have as a gig driver. Driving without it is not saving money. It's gambling with your entire future every time you go online. The insurance maze is intentionally complex, designed to shift as much risk as possible from the billion-dollar tech companies onto you, the individual driver. They've created a system where you are most vulnerable when you are working for them, but not yet actively generating a fare. But even if you navigate this maze perfectly and have the right coverage, the accident itself opens a whole new Pandora's box of legal nightmares. Because the moment metal hits metal, you're no longer just a driver. You're a potential defendant, a witness, and a target. The first thing you need to understand is that in the chaotic minutes after a crash, you are the most vulnerable person on the scene. The other driver sees a logo on your car, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, and they don't just see another driver. They see a corporation. They see deep pockets. Their immediate thought, or the thought of the first person they call, is that this is a potential payday. You are the face of that payday. Simultaneously, the passenger in your back seat, who might have been your friendly conversational partner just 30 seconds ago, is now in a legally ambiguous position. Are they a witness? Yes. Are they a victim? They might claim to be. Are they a potential plaintiff in a lawsuit? Absolutely. They have a potential claim against the other driver, and they have a potential claim against you and, by extension, the gig company you're driving for. Every word you say, every move you make, is being recorded in the minds of people who now have a vested financial interest in how this story gets told. This is the post-accident minefield. And the first, most common misstep happens within seconds. It's the instinct to be polite, to be human. The other driver gets out of their car. Maybe they're yelling, maybe they're dazed. You get out, shaken, and the first words out of your mouth are, "Oh my God, I am so sorry. Are you okay? I didn't see you." In that single moment, you may have just handed a litigation team the keys to your financial future. In the world of accident law, "I'm sorry" is often interpreted as an admission of guilt. It doesn't matter if you were just being a decent human being expressing shock and concern. To an insurance adjuster, to an attorney, that phrase is Exhibit A. It will be in the police report. It will be in the other driver's recorded statement. It will be used to argue that you, from the very beginning, knew the accident was your fault. The correct response is clinical, detached, and difficult to do when your adrenaline is pumping. You check on the other party. Are you injured? You don't say, "I'm sorry." You state facts. My vehicle is here. Your vehicle is there. We need to call the police and exchange insurance information. You become a reporter of facts, not an interpreter of events. The next landmine is the police report itself. When the officer arrives, they are trying to piece together a puzzle with missing pieces in the middle of a busy, and now blocked, roadway. They are not a judge or a jury. Their report is their professional summary of events, but it carries immense weight. When you speak to that officer, you provide only the concrete, verifiable facts of what happened from your perspective. I was traveling north in this lane. The light was green. The impact occurred here. Where drivers get into trouble is speculation. The officer might ask, "So what do you think happened?" The temptation is to fill in the blanks. "Well, I guess he must have been speeding." Or, "I think she was probably on her phone." Unless you saw the person's speedometer or the phone in their hand, you are speculating. And your speculation can be twisted. If you guess wrong, it can damage your credibility. Worse, if you speculate about your own actions, "Maybe I was going a little too fast for the rain," or "I suppose I could have checked my blind spot again." You are again handing ammunition to the other side. Stick to what you know for a fact. The car was there, then the car was here. The light was this color. That's it. Now let's talk about the passenger. This is the gig economy's unique contribution to accident chaos. If that passenger claims even the slightest injury, whiplash, a sore back, a headache, the entire dynamic shifts. They will be interviewed by the police. They will be contacted by insurance adjusters. Their version of events becomes a powerful third-party testimony. If they say you were driving perfectly, they are your best witness. But what if they were nervous about your driving before the crash? What if they thought you were following too closely, or you seemed distracted? Their statement, "Yeah, the driver seemed a little rushed," suddenly becomes a cornerstone of the other party's negligence claim against you. And here's the scariest part. That passenger can sue everyone. They can file a claim against the other driver's insurance. And they can file a claim against the policy you have through Uber or Lyft. When that happens, you are now caught in the middle. The gig company's insurance provider is defending a claim, and their first priority is their bottom line, not yours. They will investigate your actions leading up to the crash. Were you logged into the app? Were you on the way to a pickup? Did you violate any company policy? Your own supposed insurance safety net can suddenly feel like an interrogation. This brings us to the dreaded button press. Reporting the accident to the platform. You are contractually required to do this immediately. But every driver knows what this means. Almost certain, immediate, temporary deactivation. The platform's algorithm isn't going to wait for the facts. An accident has been reported. A safety event has been triggered. Your account is frozen pending investigation. Now you're in an accident, potentially without a drivable car. And you've just lost your source of income for an indefinite period of time. This pressure cooker leads to the single most catastrophic mistake a driver can make. The off-the-books deal. The other driver has minor damage. They say, "Look, let's not get insurance involved. Just give me $500 for the bumper, and we'll call it a day." Seems so tempting. No police report, no insurance premium hike, no deactivation. It is a siren song leading you straight onto the rocks. You hand over the cash. A week later, you get a letter from an attorney. The other driver is now claiming severe neck and back injuries that manifested days later. They're claiming their minor bumper damage is actually a bent frame costing thousands. And because you have no police report, no official record, it's your word against theirs. By trying to sidestep the system, you have forfeited all of its protections. You have no evidence, no official timeline, and you look like you were trying to hide something. You didn't just have an accident. You participated in what now looks like a cover-up. So what's the countermove? How do you protect yourself in this whirlwind? You turn your smartphone from a distraction into your shield. You become a forensic investigator. Before you do anything else, you photograph everything. Not just the damage to both cars, but the wider context. Get pictures of the license plates, the street signs, the traffic lights from all directions. Capture the road conditions. Was it wet? Were there potholes? Get photos of any skid marks on the pavement. Take a video slowly walking around the entire scene, narrating what you see. This evidence is objective. It doesn't have a financial stake. It doesn't get confused or misremember words. A single photograph showing the other driver's car halfway into your lane can be more powerful than 1,000 words of testimony. If you have a dash cam, you have the ultimate, unbiased witness. In the modern legal landscape, video is king. Finally, there's the question of injuries. Adrenaline is a powerful painkiller. At the scene of an accident, people often feel fine, even if they've sustained serious injuries. The other driver might say, "I'm okay, just shaken up." Your passenger might say the same. You might feel fine yourself. Never ever accept "I'm fine" as a final medical diagnosis at the roadside. The proper response is always, "I'm not a medical professional and neither are you. It's probably best that we all get checked out to be safe." This protects you from the later claim that you were dismissive of someone's injuries. And for your own sake, get yourself checked out. The pain you feel tomorrow might be the start of a long-term problem. And if you haven't documented it from the beginning, you will have a much harder time getting it covered. All of these steps, controlling your words, managing the police report, documenting the scene, and handling the injury question, are forms of legal defense. You are building a wall brick by brick to protect yourself from the storm that is coming. Because make no mistake, it is coming. The moment the tow trucks drive away, the battle of the insurance companies begins. Their adjusters, their investigators, and their lawyers are already starting to build a case. And their primary objective is to pay out as little as possible. That means finding someone to blame. And as the gig driver at the center of it all, you are the easiest target. They will be looking for any inconsistency in your story, any admission of fault, any procedural misstep you made in those first few critical hours. This is why your next move after the scene is cleared is the most important one you can possibly make. You need to lawyer up. Immediately. I'm not being dramatic. I'm not trying to scare you. This is the single most important piece of advice in this entire series. Before you call your own insurance company, before you respond to that text from the other driver's adjuster, and absolutely before you engage with Uber or Lyft's internal incident response team, you need to contact an attorney who specializes in rideshare accidents. Why? Because in that moment, when you're still shaken up, possibly injured, and worried about your car and your income, you are the most vulnerable you will ever be. And at the exact same moment, a multi-billion-dollar machine is cranking into gear with one primary objective: to pay you as little as possible. Let's talk about the phone call you're about to get. It'll come from an insurance adjuster. They will sound incredibly friendly, concerned, and helpful. They'll say things like, "I just want to get your side of the story while it's fresh." Or, "Let's just get a quick recorded statement so we can move this along and get you paid." This is a trap. It is a carefully designed, psychologically perfected trap. The adjuster is not your friend. They are a highly trained professional whose job performance is measured by how much money they save their company. The recorded statement is their primary tool. They will ask you a series of questions designed to elicit responses that can be used against you later. "How are you feeling today?" You say, "I'm okay, a little sore." They write down, "Client stated he was out." 3 weeks later, when you have debilitating back pain, they'll bring that up. "But you said you were okay. Were you in a hurry to pick up your passenger?" They're fishing for an admission that you were rushing, maybe speeding. "You had a long day, you must have been tired, right?" They're trying to establish fatigue as a contributing factor. "Were you looking at your phone for navigation right before the impact?" This is a killer question. As a gig driver, the answer is almost always yes, because that's the job. But in the hands of an insurance company, that answer becomes, "The driver admitted to being distracted by their phone at the time of the collision." They will twist your words, take them out of context, and use your honest, uncoached answers to build a case against you. By giving a recorded statement without legal counsel, you are handing ammunition to the opposition before the battle has even begun. When you hire an attorney, the very first thing they will do is send a letter of representation to all parties involved. This letter legally requires all insurance companies to cease all direct contact with you. The phone calls stop. The emails stop. The pressure stops. From that moment on, they have to go through your lawyer. You get a professional shield who knows exactly how to communicate with them, what information to provide, and what to withhold. This protection alone is worth its weight in gold. Now let's get into the even bigger mess. The insurance shell game played by Uber and Lyft. This is where things get so complicated that even seasoned drivers throw their hands up in confusion. And that confusion is exactly what the companies rely on. You are covered by a three-headed monster of insurance policies. First, there's your personal auto insurance. Second, there's Uber or Lyft's limited coverage for when you're online and waiting for a ride request, what we call Period 1. Third, there's their full $1 million liability policy for when you've accepted a ride and are on your way to the passenger or have them in the car, Periods 2 and 3. If the accident happens, every single one of these insurance companies will immediately try to point the finger at one of the others. If you were in Period 1, waiting for a ping, Uber's insurer might argue that you weren't technically engaged in a commercial ride yet, trying to push it onto your personal policy. But the second your personal insurer hears the word Uber, they will run for the hills, citing the commercial use exclusion in your policy. They will deny your claim flat out, and might even drop you as a client. You're now stuck in the middle with two companies saying not it, and you're the one with the wrecked car and mounting bills. If you were in period 2 or 3 with a passenger, you'd think the $1 million policy makes things simple. Doesn't. The TNC's insurer, a company like James River or Allstate, has a vested interest in proving that you were at least partially at fault, or that your injuries aren't that severe, or that the other driver's insurance should be the one to pay. They will fight tooth and nail to reduce their payout from that $1 million policy. A specialized rideshare attorney eats this complexity for breakfast. They know the specific state laws governing TNCs. They know the policy language inside and out. They know which company is responsible in which period, and they know how to force them to the table. They prevent you from getting caught in that insurance Bermuda Triangle where claims go to disappear. So how do you find the right lawyer? Critically, you do not want just any lawyer you see on a billboard. Personal injury is a vast field. You wouldn't go to a foot doctor for a heart problem. Likewise, you don't want a general practitioner for a highly specific rideshare accident case. You need a specialist. Look for law firms that specifically advertise that they handle Uber and Lyft accident cases. Their websites should have articles, blogs, and case results related to the gig economy. When you call for a consultation, which should always be free, you need to interview them. Ask them pointed questions. How many rideshare cases have you personally handled? What is the biggest challenge you see in cases like mine? What is your strategy for dealing with a commercial use exclusion from a personal insurer? Who will be my primary point of contact at the firm? And ask about their fees. The vast majority of reputable personal injury attorneys work on a contingency fee basis. This means they only get paid if they win a settlement or verdict for you. Their fee is a percentage of that recovery. If they don't win, you don't owe them a dime in attorney's fees. This aligns their interests with yours. The more money they get for you, the more they earn. Once you've chosen your advocate, their team will launch into action, doing things you would never be able to do on your own. They will immediately send out evidence preservation and spoliation letters. This is a legal demand sent to the other driver, to Uber or Lyft, and to any nearby businesses, ordering them not to destroy any potential evidence. This is unbelievably crucial. They are demanding that Uber and Lyft preserve all your app data. Your GPS path, your speed, the exact time you accepted the ride, the communication logs. They are demanding that a nearby gas station preserve its security camera footage that might have captured the intersection. They are demanding that the other driver not have their car's black box or event data recorder wiped. This evidence can be the difference between winning and losing your case, and it often disappears within days or weeks if these legal demands aren't sent. Your legal team will also launch their own investigation. They won't just rely on the police report, which can often be incomplete or even incorrect. They'll hire private investigators to track down and re-interview witnesses. They may hire an accident reconstruction expert to analyze the crash physics and prove the other driver was at fault. They will gather every single medical record, every bill, and work with your doctors to understand the full extent of your injuries and your prognosis for future medical needs. And finally, let's talk about the elephant in the room: deactivation. After an accident, one of the biggest fears is getting that dreaded email from Uber or Lyft saying your account is permanently suspended. This can happen even if the accident wasn't your fault. You're suddenly out of a car and out of a job. An attorney can be your most powerful weapon in fighting an unfair deactivation. They can communicate directly with the company's legal department, presenting the facts, the police report, and witness statements to demonstrate you were not at fault. While there's no guarantee, a formal legal challenge is taken far more seriously than a dozen emails from a frustrated driver. They can advocate for your reinstatement, protecting not just your accident claim, but your very livelihood. This is what you're paying for with a contingency fee. You are not just hiring a lawyer, you are hiring a team. A shield to protect you from the insurance companies, a detective to uncover the truth, and a champion to fight for every single dollar you deserve. For your medical bills, for your lost wages, for the pain and suffering you've endured, for the diminished value of your vehicle, and for your ability to get back on the road. Making that one phone call to the right attorney is how you transform from a victim into a force to be reckoned with. It's how you level the playing field against giants. And that's the core of it, isn't it? Leveling the playing field. Because every single challenge we've discussed across this entire series, from the existential threat of misclassification to the gut-wrenching shock of a sudden deactivation, to the chaotic aftermath of a collision, they all stem from the same fundamental imbalance of power. You, the individual driver, the person putting your car, your time, and your safety on the line, are positioned against a multi-billion-dollar global corporation with entire floors of lawyers, lobbyists, and data scientists whose entire job is to optimize the system in their favor. For years, the narrative they sold us was one of freedom and flexibility. Be your own boss, the ads said. And in a way it felt true. You choose your hours. You choose when to turn the app on or off. But the moment something goes wrong, that illusion of being your own boss shatters. When you're deactivated by an algorithm with no human to appeal to, you don't feel like a boss. When you're fighting for fair compensation after an accident, you don't feel like an entrepreneur. You feel like a disposable part in a massive, unfeeling machine. But here's the critical truth we must hold on to. The ground is shifting. The conversation is changing. What was once accepted as just the way it is now being challenged in courtrooms, in state legislatures, and in the court of public opinion. The legal battles over worker classification in states like California, Massachusetts, and New York aren't just abstract legal theories. They are the front lines of a fight to redefine the future of work in America. These cases are forcing a national reckoning with a simple question. In the 21st century economy, what do we owe the people who make our modern conveniences possible? This isn't just about Uber and Lyft. This is about every DoorDash driver, every Instacart shopper, every TaskRabbit. It's about a fundamental reevaluation of the social contract between labor and capital in an age of apps and algorithms. And you, as a driver, are not a passive observer in this story. You are the central character. Your experiences, your struggles, and your voice are the evidence. So, as we bring this series to a close, I don't want to leave you with a sense of fear or helplessness. I want to leave you with a blueprint for empowerment. Because waiting for a law to change or for a company to have a change of heart is not a strategy. The real strategy begins with you today inside your own vehicle. It's about forging your own armor piece by piece. First, and I cannot overstate this, you must become a meticulous, almost obsessive record keeper. Your phone is not just for accepting rides. It's your personal black box. Use mileage tracking apps religiously, not just the one provided by the company. Keep every gas receipt, every receipt for car washes, for new tires, for oil changes. Why? Because you are a business and these are your business expenses. Come tax time, this documentation is your shield against a massive tax bill, and your sword for claiming every single deduction you are legally entitled to. It's the difference between a profitable year and a year spent spinning your wheels. Document every communication with support. Screenshot weird app behavior. Screenshot low-paying ride offers. Create a data trail of your own experience because you can be certain the company is creating one on you. Second, build your financial moat. The single greatest source of leverage these companies have over you is financial precarity. They know that if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you can't afford to be deactivated for a week. You can't afford to turn down a string of unprofitable rides. You can't afford to take a day off to fight a bogus customer complaint. Your number one priority starting now must be to build an emergency fund. Even if it's just $5 from every day's earnings tucked into a separate account. $1,000. Then $2,000, then a month's worth of expenses. That financial cushion is not just money. It's freedom. It's the freedom to say no. It's the power to walk away from a bad situation. It's the peace of mind that an unfair deactivation is a frustrating problem, not a life-altering catastrophe. Third, find your community. The gig economy is designed to make you feel isolated. It's just you, alone in your car, interacting with a faceless app. This is intentional. An isolated workforce is a compliant workforce. You must actively fight against this isolation. Find the online forums for drivers in your city. Join the Facebook groups. Go to the meetups at the airport waiting lot. Talk to other drivers. Share information. Hey, did you see that new airport pickup policy? Watch out for this scam a passenger tried to pull on me. Who's a good, affordable mechanic in this area? This collective knowledge is invaluable. It's how you learn the tricks of the trade, how you warn each other of dangers, and how you realize that the problems you're facing are not unique to you. They are systemic. And in that realization, there is immense power. There is strength in numbers. Finally, and this is the most important piece of advice I can give you, you must fundamentally change your mindset. The single most powerful legal and financial tool you possess is the way you see yourself. Stop thinking of yourself as someone who works for Uber or for Lyft. Start thinking of yourself as the president, CEO, and sole employee of your name incorporated. Your vehicle is not just a car. It's a capital asset. Your time is not just hours worked. It's inventory. Every ride is a business-to-business transaction. When you adopt this mindset, everything changes. A CEO doesn't just blindly accept the terms given to them. They analyze them. They ask, is this transaction profitable for my company? A CEO tracks their revenue, but they are obsessed with their profit margin. They know their cost per mile down to the penny, factoring in gas, insurance, depreciation, maintenance, and tires. They don't get excited about a $20 fare that takes them 45 minutes and 25 miles to complete, because they know after expenses they might have actually lost money. A CEO manages risk. They invest in a good dashcam not just because it's a neat gadget, but because it's an insurance policy against false accusations. A CEO protects their assets. They don't take riders who are a clear and present danger to themselves or their vehicle. A CEO advocates for their business interests. They understand the local regulations, they support organizations that fight for their rights, and they are always looking for ways to operate more efficiently and more profitably. You are not just a gig worker. You are an entrepreneur on the front lines of a massive economic shift. The road ahead is not easy. There will be challenges. There will be unfairness. There will be days you want to quit. But you are not powerless. Your knowledge is power. Your records are power. Your financial independence is power. Your community is power. By taking these steps, by arming yourself with information and a professional mindset, you do more than just protect yourself. You change the dynamic. You cease to be a cog in their machine and become the CEO of your own. You are the one in the driver's seat of your career and your life. Drive smart, drive safe, and drive empowered.